Hello, it's Sunday. It's getting to be spring. I saw a whole patch of purple crocuses blooming today, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm always excited by this time of year. As much as I love the winter, I love when the spring comes. So I've been thinking about a lot of things. I have a lot of things that I can talk to you all about, but I want to start with fear. We've all had a good dousing in the fear pool over the last year or so, collectively and, of course, individually as well. And even if you haven't succumbed to that fear and let it take you under, we've all been invited to do that. Um, and it's been a real practice for me uh, to stay out of fear. So I want to talk about fear, and wanted to talk to you about one of the ways that I deal with it, that has really come about through my spiritual life over the last, God, 20, almost 30 years. Holy moly. And that is not fighting fear per se, but stepping out of fear into faith. So, what does fear do to us? It narrows our vision, as any anxiety or stress does. We are incapable of seeing a big picture because all we really see is what we need to survive. So you can think of, a wide angle lens, and as fear comes in, you all of a sudden are almost at a pinpoint. It's almost like you've got blinders that are placed because of being in fear. You can't see anything but what's in front of you, which of course leads even to more fear because you lose all perspective. You lose any sense of connection to anything, to nature, to God, to the other. Suddenly, when you're in that much fear, you feel very, very alone. Very alone. Sometimes it seems almost like you're getting sucked into a whirlpool and there's nothing you can do about it. You just end up screaming your way down to the bottom. Sometimes you lie in bed at night, unable to sleep because of how afraid you are. Whether it's what we're dealing with the pandemic or economic issues, or whether it's something more personal, um, your relationship, your children, something terrible like climate change. It's easy to feel helpless and powerless when you're in fear. And I'm not going to give a commentary on anything that's going on in the world, but I will say one of the universal purposes of fear and instilling fear in others is to rob them of their power. So what happens when you're a little child in fear? You're scared, you run to your mom, you run to your dad, you run to a person who can make you feel safe. So, oh God, I mean, we've got a million examples of that, right? In my own life, it's running to, I don't even know. I mean, like running to the other person to fix it, right? There's always the lookout for, you are the one that I choose to make me not afraid. Um, yeah, and in my experience, that doesn't usually work out very well. And there's a reason for it, and it's actually a grace. It's a hidden grace. All of those times when you get felt let down or betrayed by the person who was going to be your savior, it's all bringing you to the point of realizing that you've got that all within you. That your capacity to feel safe and secure, no matter what is occurring out in the world or in your life, is right within you. Right within you. We all have it because we are divine beings. We have a highest self that is in constant communion with God or the One or the unified field. There's, whatever you want to name it, as I always say, that's entirely up to you. It doesn't It doesn't change the truth of what that is. But sometimes when you're in so much fear, it's hard to get to that place of tapping into yourself. I've had a lot of traumatic things happen in my life and struggles. One thing that I was told by God to do when I was clawing my way out, or trying to claw my way out of fear and panic, is to look for the guideposts. Look for the things along the way where God showed up for you, for me. And I was shown in the Bible. Now, full disclosure, I am not a biblical scholar at all. Abraham, God met him and he put a pile of rocks on the side of that road. And every time he went by that pile of rocks in his travels, he stopped and he remembered, oh, that is where God showed up for me. In the midst of some really crappy stuff, God showed up. And Jacob and the angel, wrestling with the angel, he got through that. He put a rock there. He put a pile of rocks there. That was his spot. So long ago, I was encouraged to go back through my life, find those places where God showed up for me, and mark it. And at the time, I was young. I mean, seemed like an okay thing to do, but I really didn't. I'll do it because God told me to do it. But as I have gone through life and struggled and been in panic and fear, wondering how the hell I was going to get out of this one, how was God going to get me out of this one, I would take a moment and breathe and go into quiet, and I would go back to those little altars, those little markers of the places where God showed up for me, where God prevented me from being killed by my first husband, where God saved me from a pack of wild dogs when I was backpacking by myself in Maine at the age of 17, to the one where I had a serious accident and an angel of a man stopped to help me and my granddaughter. Those are all places where I left an altar. And I have gone back to visit them because what that does for me and what it can do for you it's a myriad of ways that it helps. But one of the ways is you remember that you're not alone. And you remember that God shows up. God shows up. Sometimes when it's the darkest, most desperate time of your life, God shows up. And God has shown up in my life and your life and probably everybody's lives way more than we ever realize, right? So the little piles of rocks I have are probably like a fraction of the times that God's actually shown up that I never even really I never thought about. It's just cool, things worked out. That was probably God or my angels. Somebody out there showing up for me, to help me, to protect me. So one of my ways out of fear is to visit those places. And if you don't have any piles of rocks on your path to go back to, start now. Sit down, be quiet, lean against a tree, go out in the woods, look at the water, soften your mind, soften your gaze, soften your thoughts, and ask for those places, ask to be reminded of the times that God showed up for you. And when you see one, mark it. And know that's a place that you can touch back into as proof and as a huge reminder that God will continue to show up for you. This helps me get out of fear. This helps me claim my power as a divine child of God who has every right to be on this earth, thriving and loving and dancing, not always in panic or fear. So, finding a way to get yourself out of fear. It might be different for you, and that's okay. But getting out of fear is the biggest thing. And I have found that the opposite, the flip side of fear, is faith. Just as I have found that the flip side of grief is joy. There's a dark and a light, a front and a back to every experience we have. Fear, faith. If you don't feel like you have any faith, just ask. It will be given to you. Release any ideas in your mind of what that might look like and be open. So, taking a nice big breath. I bless you today. I bless you on your path. I bless you in the remembrance of where you've come from. I bless you, and I wish for you that you find those markers and that they become a story, not a fictitious, rational story, but a mysterious story, a mysterious, legendary, mythical truth of where you've been, where you are now, and who you truly are. I'd love to hear about times that God's shown up for you, because I think it's really important for us to have that community and that reach with each other, because every time you hear of something cool happening to somebody else, it sparks something in you, I think. So leave me a comment, let me know, where are the times that God has really shown up for you, that you can look back and go, damn it, I would have never gotten out of that without God or an angel. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. Be blessed. Enjoy your day. Take care.